The Extraordinary Rendition of Janos Farkas. Chapter 25. Won't Harb know it's missing? Harb has more than one, Max answered. And don't worry, I've had it disinfected so that if I do break the skin, you won't catch anything from it. You're going to do it? Spencer asked. Would you prefer Harb did it? Max replied, hefting the piece of lead-filled hose in his hand. No, you do it. If it goes wrong, I can kill you. I'll try and be gentle, Max said with a smile that could be taken either way. He held up a new digital photo of Janos's face, showing the effects of the recent interrogation. His cheekbones are high and close to the skin, he said, pointing to the left cheek. That's why this bruise looks so messy and ugly. No flesh or muscle to cushion the blow. The right cheek wasn't so lucky. It's a wonder the cheekbone wasn't smashed. We'll have to match your cheek to that. Spencer looked at the ugly gash. The photo was taken no more than 10 minutes after the blow, and already the eye had started to swell and blacken. By the time Janos had left for his cell, the eye was closed. He reached up and felt his own. It was a price he would have to pay. Do I need the gash? He asked. The cut? Yes, Max replied. Those guards that took him back to the cell saw the cut. I think they'd notice it if you didn't have it. Don't worry, I'll be gentle. And the black eye? Don't worry about it, it's going to happen anyway. I'm not worried about it. I was just thinking the last time I woke up with a black eye, Yes? Well, the man is dead. I know. The bar in Bangkok. What happened? I don't know. I was drunk. He pushed this girl towards me. I don't even know if she was 10 years old. She'd been crying. I wasn't interested. I guess that just made him mad. He was a big guy. I just shoved my hand in his face and tried to push him away, that's all. Like this? With your hand open? Max asked, pushing his hand up through the air at an invisible face. I guess so. And you caught him with the heel of your hand. Yeah. Well, the heel of your hand drove his nasal bone up into his brain. He was dead before he hit the ground. How do you know? I was one of the ones they asked to go in and clean it up. Pay the pimp's family. Someone from Ignatus saw your picture. They liked what they saw. The resemblance to Farkas. That's where it started. You've been working on this file for over a year? No. After Bangkok, I never heard about you again until 3 weeks ago. That's the way the corporation works. You go about your life, everything seems normal, then suddenly there's a knock on your door. How long have you worked for IC? I don't work for Ignatus. All I do are assignments, like you. This is your first, this is my third. One before Bangkok, you in Bangkok, and now this. Like I said, you go about your real job and then, bang, there's a knock on your door. What's your real job? Right now, I'm a makeup artist, horror movies, and that sort of thing. And before that, I was busy drinking my way out of med school. USC, if you want to know which one. I was going to be a plastic surgeon, but whiskey and those jobs don't mix. It seems to have done wonders for yours, Spencer replied. Ah, Max said, caressing his nose with his fingertips. This I was born with. All I've ever done is cultivate my assets. Properly pushed, it would make a rather large hole in your brain. I thought of that time in Bangkok. I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it done before. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Do you want a freezing before the bruising? Spencer shook his head. Didn't think so. You're too hard-headed for that. When are we going to do it? Max looked at his watch and smiled. Spencer knew what that meant. Where? He asked. Over there, Max said, pointing to the other side of the room. Spencer turned and looked. He turned back just as Max's right hook caught him squarely on his cheekbone. The punch staggered him, but he remained on his feet. I always was a sucker for a sucker punch, he said, reaching up to feel his cheek. His fingers came down with blood on them. I couldn't take chances on the hose, Max said. I'm not used to it. My fists. I know what my fists can do. Okay, Spencer replied, touching the other cheek. Knowing that a punch was coming and standing there and taking it was not part of Spencer's repertoire. He shifted his head and the punch sailed harmlessly by. His right hand shot up to Max's armpit, his thumbnail biting into the tall man's axillary nerve. Max winced, then smiled. I was trying to be gentle, he said. You volunteered to do this. Why? Because I'm a lot like Janos, Spencer replied. I like to be center stage. Even if no one but the corporation knows you've done it? Spencer shrugged, offering his cheek up again. This time he did not move, and the blow landed squarely. It did not have the impact of the first one, and when Spencer put his hand to it, there was no blood. All we're after is the bruising, Max said. We'll get more swelling with the injections. I couldn't do them first. The punch would have sent solution into your eye. It would have been dangerous. Now let's get the injections in before the swelling gets so bad I can't find the right spot. Max took one of the Macallan whiskey cylinders, popped the top off, and withdrew a cloth roll. Inside were some vials, syringes, bandages, tape, and 2 atomizers. Don't worry, he said. The other 3 are really whiskey. Pulling on a pair of rubber gloves, he smiled, snapping them like a malevolent proctologist, and then sucked the contents of one of the vials into a syringe. That's meant for one eye, he said, but I think I'll just do half a dose in each. We'll see what the real swelling does. I can always do more in the morning. Spencer barely felt the needle or the flow of liquid into his bruised cheeks. He watched Max take one of the atomizers, fill it from a small bottle, and test the spray in the air. The smell had an old familiarity to it. Tincture of iodine, Max said. It will keep the cut from getting infected, but more importantly, it gives the color of bruising. Purple where it's concentrated in the middle, fading out to yellow on the sides. Painting it on leaves streaks. The atomizer is like an airbrush. Now close your eyes. When Spencer opened them, he looked into the mirror. Max handed him the picture of Janos's battered face. What do you think? Spencer looked at his own face and then the face in the picture. Reality was blurring. Why are you doing this to me? He asked the face in the picture. I am nothing but an innocent actor. I have nothing to hide. Why are you doing this? He half expected the face in the picture to answer him back, but it didn't, because he was now that face. Tell me about Paris, Max said. How did you time the explosions? Even a cell phone couldn't be that accurate. How did you do it? Who do you work for? There was a girl I was in love with, Spencer stated. She was my first love, but my family was Bosnian and she was Serbian. Do you want to hear that story? It's a story about my childhood. You seem to be interested in my childhood. I guess you like children's stories. Do you know what I think? Max asked, interrupting. What? Just Max, Spencer replied. What do you think? I think we should get drunk. Why? Because tonight, Spencer Elliott dies. That's the end of chapter 25. Tomorrow, chapter 26.